Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for attending the presentation today. My name is Arno. I'll be walking you through the tips and tricks to better use Airplane. We'll go through a nice list of features and tips to optimize your usage of Airplane. So we'll be talking about taxes, priority taxes, currencies, PDF settings, email templates, setting up SMTP for your emails, managing your views and filters, um, give you a couple of examples of how to use tags and filter on tags. We'll be talking about barcodes, customer balance and credit limit, minimum order quantity for your products, and then we'll talk about exports to CSV or Excel. So let's get started. But during the presentation, we have a team of product specialists who can answer your questions in the chat. So I might not be monitoring the chat myself, but we have Loic and Fraser who will be happy to answer your questions. So feel free to ask your questions during the presentation. I'll try to take some questions if I have some time at the end of the presentation. Otherwise, if any questions gets unanswered because we don't have time or we might not have the answer at that moment, we will be recording all the questions and get back to you by email afterwards. So please don't hesitate. I hope this session is useful, and I'll get started quickly because as you heard in my list, there's quite a few things to cover today. Okay, so let's talk about taxes. Taxes, in simple terms, it's just the ability to add taxes to your transactions, like invoices or purchase orders. They can be different by customer. They can be different by country. They can be different by province, depending on where you are. To create your taxes, you simply go into the menu settings, taxes. And from there, this is where you can create your taxes. So to create a tax, it's very simple. You simply click on create. You select a name and abbreviation. You select if it's a simple tax rate or if it's a group of taxes. If it's a group of taxes, you're just simply going to select the ones that are made of that group. That could be useful depending on where you are. In some states, in some provinces, or in some countries, you will need to combine different taxes to have the final group tax. So this is something you can do. If you're using applications like QuickBooks for your accounting, you can also sync or you can create the tax from QuickBooks directly into Airplane, so you don't have to even select the name or the percentage. It will be created automatically. Yes, you're supposed to see the screen. I completely apologize. Let me go back for a minute up. I apologize for that. So let me go back. Again, you go into the settings, taxes, and this is where you see the list of taxes. You click on the button create to create a tax. You choose a name, the abbreviation, and the tax rate, and you can select if it's going to be a group or a simple tax rate. So for example, if you choose a group, you'll simply be able to choose individual taxes that you can combine together in order to create a tax group. There we go. So this is how you create tax. From that page, you can also edit the tax by clicking on the edit button, and you can disable the tax if you need to. So this is how you manage and create your taxes. Now, in terms of tax priority, this is an important subject because I know sometimes it can be confusing to know which tax is going to be selected automatically when you create an estimate, a sales order, or an invoice, or even a purchase order for that matter. So in terms of the sales side, creating any transaction and then selecting products, let me explain to you what's going to happen. So I'm going to select any random product here. There we go. I selected the product. And as you can see, I have a default tax that just showed up. So the priority order, how did Erplain select that tax? So first, Erplain is going to look into the product itself. And that's the default setup. And you can change that default setup, but I'll talk about it after, because by default, your account will be looking at the tax that you set up in your product first. So if you have a tax in your product, this is the first tax that will be prioritized for the selection of the tax. It can be very useful to have a tax for each product, but only when you sell products that have multiple that have different tax rates. Again, depending on where you're selling the products, you can have some products at a certain tax rate and certain other products at another tax rate. So in that case, setting up a default tax for each product can be very useful. And this is simply done in the product profile. You open your product, you edit, and there's a tax option directly in there that will be the priority for all your transactions. If you do not have a tax in the product, the second order or the second priority that Erplain is going to look at is the customer. So for example, here in the estimate, or again, it can be any transaction, if you select a customer here, I can assign a default tax to each of my customers. Again, this is simply done by opening the customer, you edit, and you also have a default tax option in the customer. So that's the second priority. So if there's no tax in the product, then Erplain is going to look at the tax that's included in the customer and will select that tax when you add your products. If you do not have taxes in your products, or if you do not have taxes in your client or in your customer, then the third option will be in the user profile. So the user profile is very simple. You go into the menu, the user menu, you click on Edit My Profile. You can also do that in the users menu in the settings if you want. That's the same idea. And as you can see here, I have the ability to select the default tax. So that's the tax that will be selected if there's no tax in the product or no tax in the customer. And then the third level of priority is at the company settings. So if you have no tax in the product, no tax in the customer, no tax in the user profile, Erplain is going to look at the tax in the company settings. So you just simply open the company settings, and then you will be able to select a default tax right here in the default values. So that's the default priorities. You can change that priority by not selecting the products to be the priority above all the other settings. And here, just again in the company settings, just below the default value, you have the tax priority setting. That tax priority setting will simply disable the priority for the product. That means whenever you're creating a document like an estimate, like I was showing you, we're going to look at the customer first, not the product. So the customer, then the user, and then the company settings. So in other words, that will not be the product will not have the priority on when you create your different transactions. So that's the default settings for your taxes. When you open your Erplain account, it will be your product that will be the priority. So just so you know, if you need that to be changed, you can do that in the company settings. All right, let's talk about currencies. So currencies, as you can imagine, it can be used if you're buying or selling products in multiple currencies. When you open your Erplain account, you'll have your primary currency, and then if you go into the menu settings, currency, this will be here. The one at the very top will be your primary currency. You can add other currencies, as you can see here. So these other currencies are simply added, and I can see here I probably have some issues with my settings for the exchange rate. But to create a currency, it's very simple. You click on create. You select the currency. So for example, if you want to add the Argentine pesos, you can see here that's CAD-ARS, and you put the exchange rate. In case you're wondering about the exchange rate and you don't know which order it's the proper one, simply go into Google, like I'm showing you here, and you type CAD and ARS, and it's going to give you the proper exchange rate for that currency. So that's obviously the live exchange rate. But I will give you the proper exchange rate. So that's as simple as that. So that's in order to set up your different currencies and to change the rates. The way Erplain is going to change or to use the currencies, you can simply go into, for example, we can create an estimate, or again, it could be an invoice or sales order or purchase order. And we're going to change, so Canadian dollar, CAD is the primary currency for my demo account. But if I change it to my non-primary, so for example, euro, I will see an exchange rate field that shows up. That exchange rate field of course, can be updated. So, for example, if I have negotiated a different exchange rate for that day with my bank, I can change it here. So that would not be a problem. And that's the exchange rate that will be used in the transaction that I'm going to create. The default exchange rate that you set up in the settings will just used so that you don't have to enter it every time in that transaction. The exchange rate that is effectively used by Erplain is the one in the transaction. It's not the one in the settings. So for example, if you create a purchase order and if you buy with a different currency, you can change the exchange rate just like I'm showing you here. And as you save and receive the products from your suppliers, when we update the inventory valuation, we're going to use the exchange rate that was used when you receive the products, not the one from the settings. So that's a quick note here. Again, exchange rate is important in each transaction. The settings are just for you, so you don't have to pre-enter that information every time. Okay, so that's the exchange rate, and that's how it's being used in each different transaction. Let's talk about PDF settings now. PDF settings, you go into the settings menu and you go into PDF settings. In the PDF settings, you have multiple options and sections so that you can customize the PDF that you create. So your PDF could be an invoice, could be a stock entry, could be anything that you create in Erplain. So these different sections, and I'll show you a little bit. I'll generate a PDF of an invoice, for example, so I can show you where this information shows up. But that additional company information is going to show up next to your address at the top of your PDF. Terms and conditions. These are the generic terms and conditions that you can add to your account, and they can be added to all your customers or all the PDF that you create for your customers. In addition to these generic terms and conditions, you can also have terms and conditions for each specific customer. So let me open a customer. Before I go any further, I like to show these features. So a little plus at the top right, it's what we call it's called the quick access menu, which is a shortcut if you need to create a new product or new stock movement. It just saves you a few clicks compared to going on the menu on the left, selecting that section, and then click on create. Here it's just direct. So if I click on customer, it's going to open the form for creating a new customer. And as you can see here, another quick tip, I like to open multiple tabs so I don't have to use the back feature all the time and lose some information. It's a lot quicker. If you're using a Mac, you can simply go into any menu, and if I want to open another tab with a sales order, I just simply press the Command key and then I click on sales orders, and it's going to open another tab with my sales order. If you're on a Windows computer, you simply do the same thing, but it's with the control button, so the control key, and then you click. You can also do a right click and say open in a new tab. I like to show that feature because it saves me a lot of time. Okay, so I was showing you in the customers. You have that section called customers terms and conditions. So in that section here, you can put specific terms and conditions for that customer. And then when you create an invoice, for example, Erplain will be adding, by default, it will be adding your generic terms and conditions, and it will be adding on top of that the customer-specific terms and conditions. Actually, I should say below the generic ones, you'll have the customer-specific ones. You also have an option here in the PDF settings. If you want to completely replace the generic terms and conditions for all your customers by that one specific customer terms and conditions, you can select that option. So for example, if all your terms and conditions are the same for all your customers, but are specific for two customers, maybe large customers or customers that you have special agreements in place with, you can add your terms and conditions, and they can replace the generic ones if you select that option. Okay. So that's your terms and condition. The page footer here, that would be for just adding at the bottom of your page. That's very simple. And then you have your payment information. So payment information is something that you can select when you create an invoice. So for example, you might have different payment information when you're invoicing different customers. So these different customers can be different states, provinces, or countries, and you might have different payment information for them. So you can create multiple payment information in that list. You can create a default one. And then when you create an invoice, so let's go and create an invoice. You have payment information here. So and you have multiple payment information. You'll have the list here. You can select it here, and I'll show you where you see that information when you create the PDF. But it's next to the payment section. So that's the payment information. Then you have your display settings, the language, all a little bit generic settings. All the settings that you see here are also generic for all your PDF documents. So if you want to display product pictures in your PDF, you select it here. If you want them to be a little bigger, actually quite a bit bigger, you select that option. And here you can customize. That will be customizing your all your PDFs. Something that could be useful here is the external reference custom label. So when you create an invoice, and I'll show it to you again, when you create an invoice, you have a field that's called external reference. It is typically used to add the PO number, the purchase order number, maybe from your customer. And it's a pretty generic term, external reference. But in the PDFs, if you want to customize the term external reference, you have that option here. And as you can see here, I already used that number because that's a typical need. You can customize it to be called, for the label to be called PO number, and you can include it in your sales orders or in your invoices. If you scroll down, you can customize some labels again that are below the products, so next to the total. So this is something you can customize. And then at the bottom of the PDF settings, you will see the ability to customize each individual document. So for example, here I can choose to display the terms and conditions in the estimate. But in invoice, I don't want to show it. So I can select that, and it will be different for each document. And as you can see here, based on the type of transaction, I have different options, so I can customize it. Yeah, so that's all the different options that you can select for the PDF settings. little teaser here. We're working on a new version of Erplain that will be launched in a few months. That new version of Erplain will be including PDF templates. So you can create multiple templates for each of the transactions. That could be very useful, and it will increase the customization options for each PDF. So that will be coming in a future version. Okay, so once you've set up all your PDFs, you can use your PDF settings by going into invoices, for example. So if I open that invoice, just like any other transaction, or so maybe I'll open a different one. Sorry, maybe one that has a little more products. It will be more interesting. There we go. So that invoice here, just like any other transaction that I created in Erplain, I can click on PDF to generate a PDF. So I can click on View, so that will obviously open another tab to show me the PDF. Or if I do that a lot and I don't need to see it every time, and if I want to save it on my computer, I can just click on Download PDF. So here I'm just going to click on View PDF. Just make sure there's no pop-up blockers settings that will block the creation or the opening of a new tab. It doesn't really happen often, but we've had that a few questions. So this is the PDF settings that I selected for that invoice. As you can see, I selected to show pictures. I can even show barcodes. Typically, barcodes would probably be more used like in shipping orders, for example, more than the invoice, but this is just to show you how this works. All the additional company information, as I said, it's showing at the top in the address fields. The payment information would be included here. So when you select it, and then terms and conditions, I selected to show them in the invoice. So you've got quite a few settings that you can play with to customize your PDFs. Okay, so and once you've generated your PDF, just like all the other transactions, you can send it by email. So if you click here on Actions, Send by Email, you'll have the option to send that invoice by email. As you can see here, I've created templates for my transaction. So here, this is a template for my invoice. And I do not have to re-enter all that information every time. So I've entered some default information that includes the invoice number, that would include my name, that would include, for example, the customer name. So I don't have to re-enter that information every time. And I'll show you in a couple of minutes how to create your email templates. If I attached some documents to my invoice, you have that option here. When you create an invoice, at the very bottom, just like most transactions in Erplain, you have the ability to attach a file here. So, for example, it could be, I don't know, a purchase order from your customer. But in case you want to send that information or that attached file to the customer, it will be listed. All the attachments will be listed here next to attachment, and you can select which one you want to add on top of the invoice PDF. Of course, this one I can't remove, but the other ones by default will not be sent to your customers. You'll have to select them if you want to add that information in the attachments. So that's the sending by email. So let me show you how to create templates, and then we'll talk about SMTP. I saw that there was a question on that. Okay, so let me go into the settings menu and open email templates. So as you can see here, I can create multiple templates for each transaction, but within each transaction, I can also create multiple templates. So here, this is a template, but I could create multiple templates. As you can see here, I can click on the new template. I just select the name. I can even pre-fill the to CC or BCC information. So again, if I want to BCC my accountant every time, for example, for an invoice, I can add it here. That would be very convenient. And then I can customize the subject and the body of the email. So if I click here on subject or in the body, I can see all the different fields that I can add to the subject or to the body of the email. So as you can see here, in the body of the email, I have hello customer, I have the estimate number, I have my display name. So as you can see here, it can be quite convenient to create your multiple templates. And then you simply click on save, and you've created your template, and it will be showing automatically when you click on send by email. You can have a default template, of course. So these are all the templates that you can create for each of your transactions, and again, multiple ones for each transaction if you want to. Okay, so that's the templates. SMTP. So SMTP, what is this? Technically, it stands for Send Mail Transfer Protocol. It's a technical term. What it simply means is that instead of using email messaging or email servers, you can use your own messaging system to send the emails that you're sending from Erplain. So when you click on send by email, like I showed you, by default, it's going to use our emailing system to send the emails to your customers. If you prefer to use your own email system, like the most popular ones are Office 365 or Gmail, for example, you can do that. You simply go into the user menu again, you click on Edit My Profile, and you'll have the ability to set up your SMTP. You simply click on Edit, and you'll have the ability to enter your login information for your SMTP server, the SMTP server, the port number that will be included here. We have some very useful tutorials to set up Office 365 and Gmail. So if you click on Find Help, by the way, that's another nice tip. You can reach our help center at any time. So you click on Find Help here. And if you need information on how to set up your SMTP, as you can see here, you'll have the ability to see a tutorial to set up Office 365 and Gmail. There's different steps to set it up. Usually it's very simple, and you might, in some cases, have to contact your email system provider in order to get the SMTP information, or in order to make sure it's enabled. We've had some customers that contact us because it's not working for them, but in most cases, it's just a setting on the SMTP server side. We don't have control on your email system, as you can imagine. So make sure the settings are correct on your SMTP side, and then you put the different information in the settings. Something that could be useful as well is if you're struggling to set up or to find your SMTP settings, you can go on Google again, and you can type SMTP test tool, for example, and you'll see there's a whole bunch of free systems that will just help you with testing your SMTP server, just to make sure, and maybe they'll display an error message or give you additional information that might help you. So again, SMTP will allow you to use your own email system. And for example, it will show also in your sent items in your email applications. So that's something that some of our customers like to use as well. So that's the SMTP. All right. Next, I'm going to talk about filters and views. So let's open my list of sales orders. And in my list of sales orders, as you can see here, on the top of every of my pages almost, I have the ability to filter that page. For that page, I have created a default view that is going to filter automatically on all the orders, all the sales orders that are active or pending validation. If I click on the filter box here, I can customize that information. So for example, if I want to use all the ones that are active and the ones that are from a specific customer, I can add another filter to that list. And I'm only going to see active pending validation sales orders that are for this specific customer. And as you can see, I have quite a few options here that I can use to filter my my sales orders. If I create multiple filters, and if this is something that I want to see often or even every time in some cases, I can click on the Views button. The Views button will allow me to save the filters that I just added to that page to create a new view. So for example, here, I can click on Save View, and I could say all the active sales orders plus wind customer. I'm not going to make it my default view, but this is how you would choose it to be your default view. So every time you go to your sales order page, you would see that, and you click on Create New View, and it's going to be added to the list. So in one click, as you can see, I can go and select predefined filters, or the one that I just created here. So in one click, I can go back to the views that I created. That could be very useful. One filter that I like to show, because I'm in the sales order page, it's not a well-known filter, but it's really useful. It's called Available for Shipping. So if I click on Available for Shipping, and if I click on Available, it's going to filter on all the sales orders where I have enough products to do the fulfillment or to do the shipping order more specifically. So that means here, if I open any of these sales orders, and if I click on shipping order, I will have enough products in my inventory in order to fulfill the order. So that could be useful. So that can narrow down the sales orders that you want to process in priority. Okay, so this is filters and views, and again, this is something that you'll find on most product pages, so on most Erplain pages, including the products or including other pages as well. And because I'm on the products page, I want to show you a way to categorize your products and to create subcategories, for example. So we have what we call a tag system. So I know some of you are already familiar, because we have lots of customers using it already. But for those that are not necessarily familiar with tags, it's a way to categorize your products. So adding a tag to your products, it's very simple. You go into there, into the product, and you select the tags that you want to add to your product. Once you've added tags, one or more, as you can see, I can add 1 or 10 different tags for each of my products. That will allow me to filter my products or customers, for example, in a much easier way. So if I go back to my products page, and if I filter, I can filter here on my tags. So for example, here I can filter only on the tags. So let's select tags first, and I'm going to select a tag here, so hiking. So this would categorize the products that I put under the hiking tag. And if I also want to see the products that include, for example, a sports tag, there we go. I can add another tag, so I can click on apply here, and I will see all the products that include the tag hiking and or the tag sports, and that's exactly what I wanted to explain. So all the products here will have either hiking or either sports as a tag. If I want to show only the products that have both tags, instead of selecting contain here, I change my filter type to is, and I click on apply. And here I'm only going to see the products that include both tags, hiking and sports. So that could be very useful here. Okay, so that's a good way to categorize your products. You can use tags for customers as well. Something else I wanted to talk about are the barcodes. Barcodes are a great way in Erplain to select your products. So if you open an estimate, for example, and I'm going to show on the estimate, but it could be it will be the same for all transactions that you create in Erplain. To select products in any transaction, you can simply start by typing the name of the product here. That's one way. The other way is to click on Add Multiple Products. I click here, I will see the list of all the products, and I can filter by tag. So that's another great way to use tags. So if I only want to see the tags that relate to the product that relate to that tag, that is going to filter the product. And I simply click on the product to add. And then the third way that I can add my products is to use the barcodes. So in order for this to work is first, you need to assign the barcode to your product. So to do that, it's very simple. You open the product form. So here I'm just going to open a new product form. And as you can see, there's a barcode field here. That barcode field, of course, I can type the barcode number. That's not a problem, but I can also scan the product. So for example, here, as you can see, I have a sheet with some barcodes. So I'm going to use a barcode scanner that you can see here as well. And I'm going to scan a product. There we go. I scan the product, and the barcode has already automatically been entered into that field. And I can just save. Of course, here I'm showing you for that for a new product, but you can open an existing product and do that. You can even update your products from a spreadsheet and add the barcode the same way into the Excel spreadsheet. We support all like standard barcode scanners. It would be like you can buy it on Amazon for $20 to $40. They can be USB, they can be wireless. The important thing to remember is you just need to set them up, which is by default. You just need to set them up as like a keyboard. In other words, if you scan the code, what it does, it only sends the different numbers to your computer. So if you're in Erplain or if you're in a notepad, that's simply going to send the barcode to your computer. So that's the default way that Erplain will be able to receive the barcode from the barcode scanner. Something that I can show you also in terms of creating shipping orders, there's a bit of a different way to use the barcodes here in that case. So if I open a sales order and if I click on Create Shipping Order, you will see that I also have the scan button here. So if I click on scan, by default, just like when you create a normal shipping order, it's going to show you the products with the quantities. But if you actually want to check what you're included in the shipment, you can set all the products to 0, and then you can start scanning. So if you start scanning and the product is in the list, great. If it's not in the list, it's going to tell you it's not in the list, and it's not going to add it to the shipping order. You can scan multiple times to add quantities, or you can simply enter the quantity that you want here when you create the shipping order. So that's how you would use or check what you're sending in shipping orders with the barcode scanner. All right. Next subject, we're going to talk about customer balance and credit limit. So customer balance and credit limit, it's very simple. I'm going to show you how this works by, again, opening an estimate. And I'm going to select one of my customers. And for this customer, I believe I've set up a credit limit. So in the customer profile, you have a field that's called credit limit. For this customer, I set up $200,000 for the credit limit, which means that I will not be able to have ongoing sales or active sales for that customer above $200,000. I can have, as you can see here, I have my current balance. That means I have outstanding orders for that customers where I have not received a payment for $9,700,000. So when those invoices will be paid, then it's going to reduce my balance, and I can use the credit limit again. So that could be very useful depending on the customer. Like if you don't want to have too many orders for the same customer before you're being paid, that could be a nice way to do that. Again, the credit limit, you can set it up in the customer profile. Let me show you up customer, and you're going to see the credit limit here. In the customer, you can also set up a minimum order value. So for example, the minimum order value would be, excuse me, would be in the case where you don't want that specific customer to order less than $5,000. So for example, so maybe you've created a specific price level for that customer, but that's only provided that he orders a minimum order value every time they place orders. So they wouldn't be able to place an order for less, or you wouldn't be able to create for them an order for less than $5,000. That would apply to the B2B store in case you've invited that customer to the B2B store as well. So that's the minimum order value, and again, that could be very useful to optimize for each customer in addition to the credit limit. So that's the minimum order value. And then we're going to talk about the minimum order quantity. So minimum order quantity is something that you will set up in each product. So for example, here I'm going to open a new product. And I'm going to show you that you have the minimum order quantity. So for example, here for the product that I'm creating, I do not want I do not want that product to be ordered for a quantity that would be below 10. So any customer would be able to order that product, but it would have to be 10 or above. So it could be 11, it can be 15, it could be 45. That would not be a problem, but I would not be able to sell it below 10. A quick note on the minimum order quantity: it can be used so that you don't sell a minimum quantity for that product, but it does not replace the ability to use packagings. Packagings is a feature that you can add to any of your products. So if you open a product, you can create a packaging. So let me show you. I can click on products. I open, sorry, I chose the wrong one. Okay, let me open any random product. And as you can see here, I can create a packaging. To create a packaging, I say, okay, this is pack. So I would have to put the product name. So the name, and for example, it would be pack of 50. I put quantity 50. If I leave the price blank, Erplain will simply multiply the quantity by the default price for the product. But if I want a specific price for the pack of 50, you can include it here. But why am I talking about that when I talk about minimum quantity is because some of our customers like to order multiples of a product. So they want to sell a box of 50, but they don't want to sell 51. They want to sell 50, 100, 150. So that you would be able to do with packagings. You wouldn't be able to use with minimum quantity. So these are a little different. They answer a different need, but they're very useful, both of them. So that's the packaging, again, in order to optimize a little bit how you sell your products. All right, and then in terms of exports, so the next subject here, as you can see on most pages, so again, I'm going to open a random page here, the product list. I will have an export button here, so you can export that list. So of course you can filter. So if you filter on a product with certain tags, you can see we talked about that earlier. I'm going to filter on the product with these tags, and I'm going to click on export. And here I have the ability to export all the products that fit the filter that I selected here, or I can export only the selected product. So as you can see here, I can select the product and then export it. Once I click on export, it's going to create a CSV or Excel spreadsheet. And so that's a way to export your information. Typically, it could be used if you want to export your invoices, if you want to send to your accountant, or if you want to do more analysis on the data that's included in Erplain. Something that's very useful is the exports that are in the intelligence menu. In the intelligence menu, so for example, at the top, you've got your sales reports. You can open any sales report that you've created or that's pre-created for you, and you'll have that export button as well. So here you can do CSV, Excel if you want to create some charts, if you want to do an analysis, that's super useful. And while I'm on that page, I just want to remind you that you can also customize your sales reports. If you click on the filters page, in the filters box, you can select certain filters, like, again, product with certain I don't know if it's going to be matching here. There we go. I knew I wouldn't be able to to find the right one, but I chose a customer tag. You can select a product tag, like we saw that earlier. So let's select the product tag, and let's select hiking. That's one that we used earlier, and it's going to filter on those products. Once you've customized your report, instead of recreating it every time, you can click on the sales report button, and you'll have the ability to save the report, so the one that you're using, or to create a new report if you want to, and it will be in your list of reports, so you don't have to recreate it every time. And that concludes all the subjects that I wanted to cover today. I saw that there was some questions. As you can understand, I was presenting, so I didn't read all the questions in details, but I think the team here has replied to your questions online. Any question that has not been answered will email you. Okay, let me go and see if there's any questions that I can reply right now. Okay, so is there an option where customers can only place orders on the B2B store? So again, B2B store and orders that you create in Erplain, you would have the same options in multiple of 5 or 6 or 10 as per the product. So I believe I would have answered that question by talking about the packagings. So you have the minimum order quantity, which would not be the right usage for your question. But if you want to sell multiples of 5, you create a packaging of 5, and you just publish the packaging of 5 on the B2B store, or if you create a sales order, you just add only the packaging to the sales order, and it will be multiple of 5 or 6. So that's that would be it. All right, I have another question here. Would there be a chance to look at having storage locations per line as opposed to applying to the whole document? So that's a good question. I quickly talked about the new version of Erplain, again, coming out in a few months, and I do believe you'll be happy because this is a feature that will be included in that version. So yes, so you will be able to select a stock location per line item, and not just for the whole document. But again, that will be in the new version coming in a few months, where we can't share the date yet. It's not because it's confidential or we don't want to share it. It's because we haven't reached the testing phase yet where we can be confident in terms of the launch date. But yes, it's we're actively working on that new version. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions. Is the current balance available in my invoices even if I did not set up a credit limit? Yes. So if you create an invoice and you select any customer where I did not select a credit limit, as you can see, there's no credit limit, but I can still see the customer balance. So it will show up here. Are there any other languages for PDFs? Yes, you can have your PDFs in multiple languages. So you have your default language for the PDF that you can set up in the company settings. There we go. Where is it? I lost it. Sometimes it shows at different places here. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, I'm not in the PDF settings. I am going to the wrong page here. It's in the PDF settings. You've got the language in the PDFs. You can select it here. But if you do want to select different languages per customer, you have that option when you create a new customer or when you edit a new customer. You have PDF languages here, and you can change either the default setting, which would be the the PDF settings that I just showed you, or you would select another language for that PDF. And then if you generate a PDF for that customer, it could be in French, and then for another customer, it could be in English. So you don't have to change the default setting every time. That would be convenient. All right, and here, actually related question, if I change the PDF settings, do I need to create another invoice to see the changes? No, but there's one exception. There's always an exception. So if I change any of my PDF settings, and if I go generate a new PDF for that invoice, it will apply my PDF settings. The new ones that I selected. There's one exception. It's the terms and conditions. Terms and conditions, once you've saved them into the invoice, they will be attached to that invoice. So if you change your terms and conditions, which I'm sure you all understand, it kind of makes sense. You can change terms and conditions for previous invoices. So you would just simply go in and change anything in your terms and conditions, but they will only apply to your new invoices. So that's the exception that I was referring to. Okay. I think that concludes the session for the day. I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope I have taught you a few things. I'm sure some of those features that I showed you, some of you, I'm sure, already knew quite a few of them, but hopefully I was able to show you a few new things. If there's any questions we didn't answer, we'll get back to you by email, but I want to thank you for your time. And that will be my pleasure to join you for another session in the future. So thank you, and have a wonderful day. And I see here link to review the presentation. Yes, I believe we'll send a link to with a recording of the presentation. So yes, I don't have it here to share, but it will be sent after. Thank you very much, everyone.